you're out of sight.
Is intended for mature audiences only.
Parental discretion is advised.
Hello world, you are back on Outtasite Radio. I'm your host, Outtasite, not to be confused with the professional talk show host. My guest tonight is Rev Sev of Peratus. We go back.
Years.
Rev Sev, the lead singer of Peratus. How you doing, man? Welcome to Outtasite Radio. You already know, brother.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. I'm excited, man. So, yes, Rev Sev of Peratus.
Man, I tell you what, man, I was telling you off the air that we had an occasion where we did 3 shows in a row, and it was strange because it was really completely different formats, but somehow your song just fit into all the themes of the show. We played it 3 weeks in a row, and the response we got was big. Not only that, I wanted to get you on a show, as you know, from the time we started it, and I'm glad we finally worked it out, by the way.
Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. It's my fault. You tried earlier, but now I'm here, so.
It's all your fault, man. Of course, nothing's ever my fault, right?
Nothing. Damn.
That's
nothing.
why I love you, man. Anyway, but check it out, man. I just played Orion. Now, I shamelessly played this song first because this is the only Peratus song that I've been featured on, and I also mentioned that there's really not a lot of Peratus songs that are featuring anybody.
Not really, no.
Right?
Yeah,
right.
Nobody. It's featured you. I featured one other friend, I think.
Oh, no, dude. You're supposed to say, no, it's only you.
Only you, baby.
I'm kidding. Go ahead. What other features are on Peratus songs before we go on and talk about Orion some?
The only thing really was my buddy Chad Pounds. He helped me write a part. He wrote one of the verses on the song "Fade Away," which is that slow song on Equilibrium. So more acoustic-y, quieter thing. But he helped me write that. So that was Chad Pounds and Mike, and that's it. That's who I've only. The rest of it's been me or the band members. So. Right.
Well, that's what's up, man. Now, as far as your writing process and your creative process, I don't know if I ever asked you this, but I was always curious. How do you get into the zone to write your songs? Because, as you know, I've always told you, I think you're one of the best songwriters that I've come across. How do you get into your zone to really write your songs, man? Or come up with lyrics?
For me, it comes like one of two ways. One is that and I know a lot of musicians out there will agree, and even other, your average Joe gets the urge every once in a while, but sometimes it just hits you like a hammer, every once in a while. I just pick up my guitar, start playing, and the next thing you know, about a half hour later, I got a song, lyrics, and everything, Right. On the vice versa, it's, sometimes I'll be, as I am right now with a couple of the bands, I have like 4 or 5 songs that are still instrumental because I'm not done with them, before I start writing lyrics. I write backwards from a lot of people. I've been told a lot of people write lyrics and then write a song around it. Not me. I have to come up with the cool song. Musically, I need to be interested to get me inspired to write the lyrics to it. And then usually the song tells me what I want to write about. I'll pick a story last, and so it's either really quick or it takes me weeks. So one of the two, but sometimes they pop out in 2s or 3s in a couple of days. Sometimes it takes me a month,
Right. Right. Well, dude, however you do it, you do a good job. I was always amazed by, one, your ability to write a song and your ability to create a riff, a catchy riff.
I think that's how we met, isn't it?
Exactly. Okay, that's right. A little bit of backstory. No, that's not really how we met. I was more of a fan first.
I met you, but that's how we started working together, yeah.
Right. You were in the group DIM. You were in a group called DIM, and okay, Outtasite Radio listeners, here's some trivia. Rev Sev of Peratus is actually the person who wrote the guitar riffs for the first 2 hybrid rock Outtasite songs, and that would be
Louder was the first one, I think, and then
Louder. Yes, Louder, featuring Sir Mix-a-Lot, and Right Side Down, which is the title track of my first album, Right Side Down.
The shit.
It was the shit. Now, but enough about your great host. About the great, the great guest. I want to get to a song. Okay, now I'm gonna show my ignorance. I do not have the information in front of me. Which album is the cover of Rebel Yell on? Equilibrium?
Oh, that's Equilibrium, yeah. I'm a big feelings about it. Equilibrium's got a lot of great songs, but as soon as I have the money, I'm going to remix that bitch because I hate how But yes, it is on Equilibrium.
Can I tell you something, man?
Yeah, go ahead.
I know that you have the deepest conviction behind what you just said, but
I'm not even kidding.
every single great rock musician says that.
It could be better. Oh, if I could just go back and do that.
One, if it was up, like if it wasn't for like studio time restraints and I mean, and different stuff and money and different things, great rock musicians would spend 15 years in the studio recording and mixing 4 or 5 songs.
Yeah.
Literally. They generations would pass before a great rock musician said, you know, this is ready to go. And I know
sure.
I guess that's why you kind of got to have somebody else like take the reins as far as the ear, and then you got to trust them. And anyway, that's enough. On to the good stuff, because in my opinion, this is probably one of the most impressive covers of a song, never mind Rebel Yell, but like a rock song, period, because Rebel Yell by Billy Idol just isn't one of those songs just anybody can cover.
A lot of people have tried.
Right. And it was terrible because not that they were necessarily not good musicians. It's just not that sort of song that anybody could do. Bottom line.
Not better than Billy. Billy Idol's he's the where it's at. That's why I wanted to do it for so long. But like you said, we've really done a great cover of it yet. And so it ended up sticking for Peratus. God, we've been playing it for like 6 years now or something like that. And
right.
It's definitely something to see live. It's a whole other thing live, that's for sure. But we put time into that on the recording and Equilibrium. They actually took time on that song a little bit, so it's not that bad. I like it. All right.
Right, it's not that bad. It's just one of the greatest cover songs. Just one of the greatest cover songs I've ever heard in my life. It's not that bad, Sev. You're right. It'll pass.
It'll pass. You'll get over it. It's like bad song.
Yeah. It's one of the best rock covers almost ever. Because that is not the kind of song that just anybody could pull off, and Peratus pulls it off very, very, very well. What made you want to cover like Rebel Yell? Whose idea was it? Was it yours, or was it something you just tried in concert, or?
No, that was me. I wanted to do it. I love Billy Idol. He's a shit.
Right, because.
Amen to that.
Yeah, if I want to rock out with Billy Idol, play his song, play whatever. That'd be a dream come true. He's a shit. So
I just want to hang out with the guy. He's just like a really cool dude, man.
I don't think Bam Margera should have been allowed to be with somebody that cool. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah, seriously.
That's great, man. What So you said you started performing that song like 6 years ago. I guess it was that long ago, huh?
Yeah, it's been.
I remember the first time I saw you play that song, I was blown away. And what I realized is that you really just got the right voice. You could really sing any of his songs if you wanted to.
In my key, I found a way to sing them. Yeah, I think I could pull it off. It took a minute. Like we've in Peratus, we've gone like all the guitar heads out there will figure this part out. But we've gone through like 2 or 3 different tunings trying to find what I like over the years of me trying to figure out where I needed to be playing for my vocals, And it finally took a while, but like we played it in drop D, drop C, drop C sharp, and it took a while to figure it out, which one was the right one for me and stuff. But yeah, I actually am pretty happy with how it turned out being able to sing that. It's a rough one on some parts. It's pushing the edge of my range sometimes, but it's all right. I can do it.
Right. I dig it, man. I dig it. Okay. Now, one song, I was watching a video the other day, and it was a video that I had forgot about. Like I always watch the video for Rot, because that's just the video. But I forgot about a YouTube video that you posted a while back. It's for a song off of the Feels Like Hell EP, and that was a song called Supposed to Live.
Yes,
Talk
sir.
about that song a little bit. Where did that song come from? The video, etc. Because that's the next song we're going to play, by the way.
All right. Well, Supposed to Live, that one's been a pretty popular one with the people that have been into our tunes since the beginning, because we've been playing. That was off the first EP, obviously. We did a demo before that, but that was just a self-recorded thing I did with the band guys at the time. And so Supposed to Live was just all about, and I've hit several of them in my life, being in low points and, trying to figure out how you're actually supposed to be living, and take something from that, and but the song itself, it came just one night when I was sitting by myself, just feeling like writing, and all of a sudden there it was. But now the video, that was something, the first time we tried to make our own video, I actually filmed and edited and did all that stuff on that video. It was pretty fun to do for the first one. And we just tried to do a whole bunch of stuff of us just messing around and having fun and like just screwing off pretty much, kicking the crap out of a shopping cart, brothers wrestling or drooling on himself. I don't know. Scotty standing by the side of the road with his pants down, waving at people. I don't know. I thought it was pretty funny. He was just a bunch of messing around.
So you're saying you did not spend $100,000 on this video, basically?
No, I spent about 3 hours of filming, and then about 10 hours editing, and that was just about it.
Well, it just tripped me out because, for one, I hadn't listened to the Feels Like Hell EP in a long time. I'll admit it. Even though I'm on it, I just hadn't listened to it for a long time. And I hadn't seen that video for a long time. So it just tripped me out when I saw it. Like, wow, I forgot about this. More people should hear that song, Supposed to Live.
It's everybody that usually hears it, you can see it on the YouTube videos. Like we have the, our live filmed videos by the same guy who made the animated. They've had, 50,000 views each, so there's 100,000 views between those two. And then they have two versions of the animated one out, one with subtitles and one without. One's had like 690 or 700,000. The other one's had like 400,000. So it's been pretty cool. But then you see every once in a while in the Supposed to Live video, oh, where'd this one come from? This song needs way more views. But it's just a matter of people, I think, getting to know us, getting to listen to us and letting it grow, because most people love the shit out of it after it grows on you. But that's for sure.
Right. It's just when I hear Supposed to Live, when I hear that song, what I hear is supposed to be on the fucking radio. That's what I hear, man. Right. That's what I hear when I hear that song. Because some of your stuff, I mean, you really can't hear it on like every radio station, because you go
not without editing, at least, that's for sure.
Right, and you get a little rough around the edges at times, which I love. But Supposed to Live is just like that perfect song, because when I watched the video on YouTube, when I rediscovered it the other day,
yeah,
I think I watched it like 15 times in a day.
I
just tripping
that,
like.
actually. I know you do that kind of thing. All of a sudden, you're like, "Oh, damn! I forgot about this one."
Right, I'm a bit obsessive compulsive here and there. What was the? I was there only for the one day of recording for Orion.
Right.
What was the? Because I'm lame and I only come to stuff that I'm directly involved in. But what was the recording process for the Feels Like Hell EP? That was actually Peratus, the official first Peratus release outside of the rough recordings that you were doing in your garage.
Hey guys, before you answer that real quick, we have a call that just called in. A 253 number is on the line with us. 253, you're on the line on Outtasite Radio.
Hello.
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 From the Outtasite Radio.
Who goes there?
How we doing? This is Jerry.
Jerry, what's up, big dog?
Is this
What's
AKA
up?
No Name?
AKA
Is this
This
AKA
is
No
No
Name?
Name. I was trying to use don't come in under incognito.
Well, it didn't work because you actually have the show playing in the background and it's echoing.
Yeah, we can hear it.
I just turned it down.
Rule number one of calling a radio station, turn the radio off in the background.
Come on.
No Name.
Rule
No
number
Name.
one, guys.
Look,
Come
man,
on,
I don't know how many beers that you've consumed tonight, but I got to tell you, man, your efforts to enter Outtasite Radio incognito have completely failed. But that's cool.
Yeah.
Because
I
we're
should have
still
used
glad
my real name.
you're on live.
My real name.
We're live on the air. We're live on the air right now, and you're on the air with your good buddy, Rev Sev of Peratus. I was actually asking him about specifically about the recording process for the Feels Like Hell EP. Where was that recorded at again?
That was at Robert Lang Studios in Seattle.
Oh, Robert Lang Studios. Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, we have a badass engineer named Justin, and Robert Lang Studios is not cheap, but they got the gear, and it turned out great. I thought EP did, so.
Right. And for anybody out there who doesn't know, a.k.a. No Name, or Jerry, as he would like to be called tonight, is involved with Peratus as far as booking shows and...
They're my boys.
Trying to get things
he
done.
takes care of us in all sorts of ways. He helps us do, banners, internet stuff. Helps us do our, the MySpace fan pages, which is nothing like I said going on with MySpace right now. But screw MySpace. No,
spam space.
He helps us in a whole lot of ways, honestly. And like basically, if we ever make it big, he's going to be our personal manager, our road manager. He's going to take care of us wherever we go.
Right.
You make me cry. You make me cry.
I think.
I love my boys. These guys. We've become friends over the years. But I don't want to. I just called in because I did have a question, and I'm sure that I'm just looking in the chat room, and there's a lot of chatter in there. So I'm going to break the ice with a question. Hopefully somebody will come in. Sev, explain to people how you got the nickname Rev Sev.
Okay.
Please.
Let's see, Rev Sev. Well, I did that myself. I was always inspired, like people said, as Reverend Horton Heaton, and I thought that was a great name for a musician. So I found a great place online called the Universal Life Church. I'm sure you've all heard of it, and I had myself ordained and paid for the title of Reverend. So unofficially, I have a PhD, honorary PhD in metaphysics, and I can put Reverend Sev PhD on my license. I haven't. But I have married a couple people for them, a couple couples, and that has been fun, too.
So you got any Peratus fans out there that want to get married, you can do it.
Theoretically, I could do it. Theoretically.
That's
now,
cool.
Depending on where you are and how much it'll cost at that point, I don't even know. But
Right.
So that's all I wanted, guys. You guys are having a killer interview here, and I love Sev. I love you, Outtasite.
Right on, man. Hey,
the shit, buddy.
I appreciate it, man, and I know that you've been one of the big time Peratus supporters of the last couple of years. Besides me, the difference between you and me is I'm kind of lame. You're not lame at all. You've been a big supporter of Peratus. But you get out there, you get out there and get your hands dirty, and you book shows, and you talk to people, and you talk shit and slap people around, and man, you do your thing, man, and I appreciate that because
Mike, in your defense, you've been one of the biggest voices I've had too, though. So you do your part.
Yeah, I just talk a lot of shit,
You're getting it out there. I mean, the people on the chat room are, they're blowing it up a little bit. You've got Sarah on there, and then you've got Nancy, and then you've got friggin' who's this UFO Jim out there. These are all guys that they're talking about how big of fans they are of Peratus, and it's absolutely phenomenal. Peratus is going to take over the world one day. It's just it's time to quit screwing around and make it happen.
We're the kings of funk and roll.
All right, now this is all I want. Right. This is all I want. Like when you take over the world fully, I just want like a small chunk of Western Washington, and that's all. And I want to be able to just grow, and I'm gonna leave it. If you
I'm feeling you.
That's all.
What are you gonna? I didn't know you were a horticulturist.
Yeah, horticulture was my main focus in school.
Tomatoes and apple trees.
Right. Every true artist is into horticulture and wood shop. Right or wrong?
Oh, yeah. I'm a framer. Yeah, yes. I was a framer at one point. I love building things, and I like growing tomatoes. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Because this is the Great Northwest, and as you know, our main crop is tomatoes. World, you know that, right?
That's right.
I like growing things too, but yeah.
All right.
Guys, I'm going to be sitting here listening. You guys have a great time. It was good talking to you, Mike. Sev, we'll talk soon, and let me know, and we're going to get some shows booked, buddy.
Very soon, very soon.
All right, guys, we'll talk to you later.
Right on.
Bye.
So check this out, man. We got a commercial break coming up. We gotta pay the bills. We gotta run some ads, or Soup Media Network is gonna come crashing down on us with vengeance.
You support our sponsors. Listen.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna play another Peratus song, and then we're gonna go to commercial, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk some more shit, because that's what we do. Okay, we're gonna get to a song called Everlow. Which album is this off of, Sev?
This is also off of Feels Like Hell. It's the shit.
Okay, now I was tempted to play the original version of Everlow because you know I have that on CD. But I thought about it, and I thought to myself, now the original version of Everlow, even though I love it, it's technically not a Peratus song.
Technically, it's inferior to the other one as well. I'm sorry to say.
Okay, so tonight we are focusing strictly, I mean, without any exceptions, except for the commercials, of course, but we are focusing strictly on the genius, I feel, of the man on the phone right now, Rev Sev, and the music he has made with his band Peratus. Now, he also has another band that goes by the name of Worm Drive. Tell us a little bit about Worm Drive, because I was gonna put it on the advertisement that Rev Sev is the lead singer of Peratus and Worm Drive, but I didn't have any Worm Drive songs to play, and I'm not really worried about it because I want to introduce my audience to your catalog, and then we'll update later on and get you back on. But tell us about the band Worm Drive, where the inspiration comes from, what's it all about, because frankly, I have no clue. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, it's in my opinion, it's awesome. To me, it's the culmination. Like, I love Peratus, and I'm going to always keep playing Peratus and stuff. And
yes.
I'm going to keep that band going, and even if it's years off or whatnot, and then I'm going to keep it coming back. But
that's good, because I'd hate to kick you off the air right now. So that's good. Go ahead.
No, I've got another Peratus album coming out soon, and we'll talk more about that. But it's just coming down to that I'm going to spend a little bit of time with Worm Drive now, and after this album comes out, and mine is Peratus gets hugely signed and famous, and we have to go on tour around the world because we'd do that in a heartbeat, obviously. So
it's good. It's good to do different projects, though, man. I have several different projects, as you know. It's good because it keeps your creative juices flowing, and you never get backed into a corner. So, but go ahead.
I think you're constantly expanding, your limits doing that, because you get stuck into one kind of music, you might not try to test what you're capable of. And I play all sorts of stuff. I mean, I started on the acoustic guitar, so all my original songs were all little cheesy love ballads and stuff like that, and so I still write some acoustic stuff, but mainly Worm Drive is more metal, and Peratus, I like to say, has a little touch of metal in it, but it's punk rock, hard rock, all kind of mixed together. And Worm Drive is somewhere between Killswitch Engaged and maybe Static X, and maybe a little even Motorhead too. Just a lot more intricate fingering stuff, very catchy. So I still find myself writing stuff that you can find yourself singing along to if you're female, male, whatever. It's not as going to be a wide demographic as, for instance, Peratus is something like 15 to 55 or something like that. But I'm really inspired by the music. It's more, in my mind, it's not better. It's just differently creative, and it's different, way more intricate. So it's fun for me to try to do something new. But Worm Drive is the shit, and I have an album of them about 80% done. So send me all your money, folks out there, so I can finish these 2 albums, or tell your best friend record buddy to sign my ass. So.
Now, you know what? Now that was that was a unique call for a financial pledge, because
totally.
Rev Sev didn't just say, send $1 or $2. He said send all of your money. I like that.
Whatever you rich people can afford, you know.
Right. No, I like the first one. Send all of your money.
All your money.
Spoken like a true reverend.
Clear.
Pass the collection plate.
So that's why they call you.
This is as good as religion for me. It's like I would never steal from myself and like not be able to like, you know, put the album out then, you know. This is my dream come true, whether people buy it or not. Just for me putting albums out and it's maybe leaving my little piece of history. So it's like I'm always trying anything I can to get the next album recorded.
Right. So Outtasite Radio listeners, at the request of the great Rev Sev, please send all ALL
right.
all of your money to Rev Sev. Find him on Facebook.
Last cent.
Yeah, he's a recent comment on Facebook. Find him on facebook.com/Outtasite Music, and you'll see him on there. He's the guy with the tattoo on his face. Send him all your money, and we'll get some more Peratus and Worm Drive music out, and you'll be glad that you did it. Don't ask questions. Don't ask too many questions, people.
Just send your money.
Yeah,
hold the line.
Because I'm this is the most excited I've been about any of my albums in a long time, and these next two are going to be the shit.
Right on, man. Right on. Well, check this out. We're going to get to some more music, and I want to hear a song that I haven't heard in a while. It's a song called "I'm Right." Which album is that off of? That Feels Like Hell, right?
That Feels Like Hell also, yeah. It's just the ones that you're going to play off of Equilibrium that are going to give me the willies, but it's all right.
Oh, come on, man. Nah. The Outtasite Radio listeners pay no attention to some of the things Rev Sev has to say, and then pay a whole bunch of attention to other stuff he has to say. We'll decipher it later on when we get him off the air. But anyway, now tell us about that song, I'm Right. What's that all about, man? What was your inspiration behind that song?
I'm sure that if I remember correctly, that was something like a temper tantrum, and I was having a power struggle in the band or something, and I was trying to subconsciously tell our drummer at the time that I'm right.
That's funny because it's like you could have did two songs. You could have did I'm Right or a song called Dude, This Is My Fucking Band. I'm
trying to be diplomatic, you know?
Right. Next time you just have to do a song called Dude, This Is My Fucking Band. Part 2 to I'm Right.
Wants to play with you. Nobody wants to freaking play in a band with you if you like that. I've lost a lot of band members just because I'm a pig-headed, hard ass. But like the ones that have stuck it out and will get paid are the ones that learned how to work with me. You know, so.
Right, but I just think it's funny because it sort of reminds me of Dude, Where's My Car? It's like, dude,
sweet.
This is my band.
Yeah,
anyway, you know what? That's exactly the impression that I got when I heard that song. Because I know you. I just wanted to get that out in the open on the air because I think that's funny.
That I'm right.
Yeah, absolutely. He was wrong once, but he found out he was mistaken.
Yeah,
now,
it turns out I was right anyway.
Right. Absolutely. So, okay, we talked about earlier, we had a caller, Mr. No Name, call in, but we were talking about the recording process of the Feels Like Hell EP. Okay, yeah. And we won't go like too deep into the subject because it's not necessarily but you're like happier with the outcome of the recording of Feels Like Hell and the process a little bit more than the album Equilibrium. Now, it all sounds great to me. And of course, like I stated before, you are a perfectionist and you're a genius and a ridiculously like anal rock musician. But moving on from that, what was
ouch.
Was it? Well, oh yeah, but I know every great musician I know is the same thing.
Though. That's different. Because of that, things get done as far as
absolutely
songs get written, bands like shows are booked. You know, just that
totally.
You know, things are completed instead of just screwing around. Because it's not just it's fun for me, but it's still like something I look at as like the work ethic I have with everything else. It's just
right.
It needs hard work if you want to succeed. So.
Basically, in layman's terms, you don't fuck around. I know that.
Yeah.
Now, the process at Robert Lang's studio, the recording of Feels Like Hell, was that like a week-long thing? Talk about that a little bit, because I was there for a while, and it seemed like a really good time, man. Let's talk about that.
I mean, that was a little rock star time in my life, you know. When my stepdad passed away, left me enough money to have fun for a little while, and I actually spent $12,000 of that trying to make my first album, because that was like one of the dreams I always had. I'd done the self-recorded album myself, and I didn't think that counted. I wanted my own pressed and printed album just to say I did it. Now, that didn't end there, obviously, and I couldn't get enough, but that's what happened. We ended up going to Bob Lang's studio with a badass engineer named Justin, and he's done a whole bunch of stuff from Dave Matthews to the Nirvana remixes to Mix-a-Lot at one point, Heart. He was a young kid too, but he had it dialed in, and we did a week there. And basically, like, we got you in there. We had some friends come in and do some backup vocals, and we just pounded it out in like 7 days, I think is what the whole thing took us.
That's all it was? I thought it was longer, like 2 weeks.
I think it was 7 days. It was 5 days of straight recording, and then maybe 2 or 3 days of mixing is all it was. So, because I can only afford so much at the time. It was still pretty spendy, but it was hella fun. That was for sure. It was all summertime. We were sitting outside overlooking the bay and everything, getting tan between our songs and stuff. It was pretty fun.
Right. Real nice neighborhood too. I remember that the whole Peratus crew looked like complete thugs standing outside, because it was like a real nice neighborhood, and it was like, okay, 5 of these guys just don't belong here, kind of like with the old Sesame Street song.
What are you in?
Right, because and if anybody out there, if you go to outtasitemusic.com/radio, there's a picture of Rev Sev, and like he looks like the lead singer of a rock band, and he always looks like the lead singer of a rock band. He's the kind of guy that it's like either you're I don't know, like a Harley tattoo guy, or you're in a rock band, one or the other. There's nothing else you can do with the way you look. You know that, right?
A little bit of both, yeah. That's it. I'm typecast, that's for sure.
Well,
right,
you always
totally.
porno. There's a industry for that, tattoo porno.
Well, he's already.
Hey, I've lost a lot of weight, but I got a few pounds to go before I start doing the porn thing.
There you
Actually, he's already done that. And see, that's part of the reason he became a reverend, to marry people, because he's had so much to do with so many divorces in the past. He's making up for it by wedding people, basically. Am I reading it right, or am I close?
Think about the possibilities, though. Think of the possibilities in the porn, though. Wedding in a porn.
Oh yeah, totally.
A lot of possibilities there.
Yeah, totally. It's marketable. It's marketable.
I think my theory is pretty close, if not absolutely correct.
You're dead on. I don't know who am I lying about. Yeah, no, you got it.
Okay, man. Well, check this out. I want to get into some more music, but before we do, the song that I want to play is "Feels Like Hell." And that's the title track to, of course, the Feels Like Hell EP. What inspired this song? I haven't heard this one for a while. I'm not going to lie to you. I think I remember which one it is. I'm kind of embarrassed.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It Feels Like Hell, it was like right then is when I kind of realized I needed to start Warm Drive, because I wanted to do something heavier, and Bud was feeling the same, and just the musicians and the style that we were at the time just kind of wouldn't allow. It Feels Like Hell was as close as we got. Now, musically, I loved it. I can sit here and bitch about my vocals all day, but on the whole, I liked the riff. I liked, the beat. I liked how the whole thing on the whole thing, but it just kind of reminded me that if Peratus couldn't do metal, then I needed to do some metal on the side. Peratus is definitely like a fun band for me, but it's I can't get everything I want out of it because of the rated PG-13 more aspect it has, in the sense that I try not to cut as much. Now, it feels like hell, there's cuss words everywhere, but I've been more thoughtful about it lately, as of late. So Worm Drive, I suppose, right then, Feels Like Hell was what kind of reminded me or told me that I needed to play something else, and that led to the birth of Worm Drive. So this is as metal as Peratus got. So.
Okay, it Feels Like Hell is pretty damn metal.
Yeah, it's pretty. That's about. We just knew if we couldn't take it further, I had to do something else. So, and I knew I needed it. So, that's where I'm at.
Now, the guitar player you talked about, Bud, B-U-D,
yeah,
Bud,
exactly.
the guitar
Bud.
player. What's
Buddy
his?
Bones.
Buddy Bones, absolutely.
Good.
He is the longest reigning member of Peratus other than yourself, right? He's like the guy
That's for sure.
who stuck with you through thick and thin, sort of like Joel Davila in the Outtasite situation.
Yeah, no, that's for damn sure. Bud's been, I couldn't have done it without him. Right hand man there through all the people leaving and coming and going, and you know he put his heart into it. And I wish we talked earlier. He wasn't able to get here tonight to talk with me, but you know he's put as much into it as I have, you know, and been there as the backbone, you know, as my right hand, my wing, as you hear us talk about it in the song where I look over and see a monster on my wing. I'm talking about Bud, you know, because he's a crazy looking monster and he's got my back. So. Yeah, he's the shit. He's been with us since the beginning. I had like Peratus for 6 months before I moved to Washington, down in California with some other members as it kind of came to birth. But he's been the only real member ever since, all the way through. You know. So.
Right, and he rocks, dude. He's awesome.
He rocks. Yeah, he's that long-haired, lion-looking guy.
And he actually, you guys have two completely different looks, but Bud.
Actually.
He completely has that same sort of feel when you look at him. It's like, okay, he plays in a rock band.
Yeah, that's all he does. He looks and lives like that's what he does. You know, he's dedicated to the part, and we're both dedicated to trying to make it and get the opportunity to perform in front of the world, you know, and live that part without having to worry about if somebody's going to hire us for a job.
Absolutely, man.
Yes,
so
sir.
You got the new band in the works, Worm Drive.
Yeah.
Correct?
3 years in the making.
You're also working on the next Peratus album, which will be the third. And it's funny, I'm a grown man who actually holds up 3 fingers when I say third, and everyone's looking at me like I'm really counting my fingers. I don't get that. But you're working on the third official Peratus release. Do you have a tentative title for that album? Just curious.
I do. We actually came up with it recently. Our new bass player, Evan, he actually is playing in both of our bands, call him Lunchbox. He came up with it. I don't want to give him credit, but we're probably going to be calling it, this is tentative, mind you, but it's probably going to be called Reflections.
Reflections?
Yes.
I like that. Reflections. Did you just say that your new bass player, his nickname is Lunchbox?
Lunchbox.
How rock and roll is that, man? How rock and roll is that, dude? The man has
hardcore.
A new bass player.
That's hardcore.
Yeah. What was the name of your last bass player?
Oliver Spencer.
Oliver. I like Oliver. I knew Oliver actually before he was a member of Peratus. And it really surprised me when I saw him play with Peratus. It like shocked me because I knew he was a musician, but he's also like a pretty talented actor. And it just surprised me. So you went from a great gentleman, by the way, Oliver, to a guy named Lunchbox.
Yeah, me and Oliver surprised us all with some shit he talked on the way out. He got kind of a big head. I'm not going to go into it any more than that.
Hey, man, we keep it positive here on Outtasite Radio, man. We're like hippies, dude, from the 60s, dude. It's all about peace. But I love the fact that your new
metal for that.
I love the fact that your new bass player is named Lunchbox, bro, because that's just rock. That's just rock, dude. Now, do you have a tentative name for the first Worm Drive album?
Oh, Enter the Worm. That's what it's going to be called. That's for sure. We spell worm like dragon, W-Y-R-M, so I took it from a Bruce Lee title. You know,
you know what, man? I got to tell you, bro, with a name like Worm Drive, you could almost do just the typical self-titled album and leave it at that. I mean, Worm Drive, dude.
Do
you really
like Enter the Worm's just been in my head since the beginning. Enter the Worm.
I mean, yeah, Enter the Worm. Like that's if you want to get fancy. But I mean, realistically though, with the name of a band like Worm Drive, do you really? You know what I mean? Do you really need a name?
Need? I don't know. You know, but maybe want. We'll have to see. Like I said, it's all tentative too. So.
But if you're just passing the bong and passing around ideas, then yeah, you can think of something. I got you, bro. Oh man, so Jackal, over there in Miami, man. I've been talking to Rev Sev and basically leaving you out of the conversation, man. This isn't fair. I need some input from the Jackal tonight. What's going on down there in Miami? Because I'm out here in the Great Northwest, as is Rev Sev, and it's like Jackal's like in another world. You know what I'm saying, Sev?
Completely.
Yeah. Totally
What's going on? What's going on in the world of the Jackals Miami? Because as we know, Miami and the Jackals Miami are really two different places. What's going on in the Jackals Miami this week, man?
Well, I'd like to think that Miami kind of belongs to the Jackal, but
of course,
maybe only in my head, perhaps. But no, actually, it's kind of cold still down here, man. So I haven't really been going and I haven't gone out to sightsee or anything. I haven't gone out much because it's been cold as hell. So I'm kind of in the same boat you guys are over there in the West Coast.
Well,
Just
what kind of
freezing my butt
temperature are we
off.
talking about?
Oh man, it's been in the 30s and 40s the last few days.
Oh, real cold, actually. Okay.
Yeah. And
right.
Remember, we're from down south. We're not used to the kind of weather, so.
Yeah,
and what's funny? What's funny is we just played the Peratus song "Feels Like Hell." Now for us, Sev, we're from the Northwest. Like it ain't. We could like deal with it. We don't like 35 degrees, but we're okay. No. To the Jackal,
it's all gravy.
Right. To the Jackal. First of all, the Jackal has never, with his own eyes, only pictures. He's never even seen snow on the ground. Never. He's never even seen an ice slick before.
I went to get the mail yesterday, and it was 38 degrees, and I almost had a case of hypothermia. It was crazy.
Oh my! Well, we got to get you out here snowboarding or something. We bury you in some snow. That'd be fun.
No, that's okay. I'll stay in the south.
I've been to Miami once, and I know it's awesome there. So
hey man,
oh hell yeah!
You know, I would encourage that not to happen, only because I really need a co-host and a producer for this show beyond the Peratus version. And the Jackal, if you played a game, just a game of burying him in the snow, the game would be over real quick, and so would the Jackal. So we're not even gonna go there, man.
We don't want that.
Now you guys,
but we got to tell the audience one thing. We got to tell them that the lines are open. If anybody does want to call in, please do so. The number is 786-245-8127. I'm sure there's folks out there with questions, so please call on in. We do have the lines open for the rest of the show here.
You know what's funny, man?
What's up?
You know what's funny, man? We were doing a show a couple of weeks ago. And I kept repeating like the call-in number, and someone actually sent an email to like my regular website, like the public email, contact@outtasitemusic.com, for a question with a question to ask the guest live on the air. And I'm like, why didn't you just call? I read the email like the next day, and I'm like, do I not say the number enough? Anyway, we're getting off track here. But you guys do a lot of like extreme sports. Are you still into the extreme sports like you used to be, man? Are you still a lunatic? Just curious.
Yeah, a bit. I mean, I haven't done. We have a dojo up near a tattoo shop I work out up in Everett, and just still doing MMA and studying a little bit in ninjutsu. I know that sounds silly, but I love it. So.
You're doing MMA? What the?
That's mixed martial arts.
That is bananas.
Yeah, no, I'm not competing. I'm just training.
Right. So basically, you've been involved with like the unorganized world of beating people up for so long that you've decided that that's boring, and I want to get into the organized world of beating people up. Is that it?
I lost track of I've been looking for ways to lose weight since got out of stopped being real physical in high school and for the first few years right after that, and I found it was really easy for me when I was playing sports and following working out with other people. I know always people use that excuse, but I needed something more than just the gym because I like lifting weights and I put on some mass for a while, but it was so easy to get out of habit, just like everybody else knows out there. that I needed something to motivate me a little bit more, start taking classes again and stuff. So it just slowly over the years, just keeping working out and stuff. But now, like I shoot in the last 5 months, I think I've lost like 35 pounds. So I'm working on it.
Right, and I've noticed because, well, for anybody who's tuning in right now, just tuning in, our guest tonight is Rev Sev. He's the lead singer of Peratus, and tonight on Outtasite Radio, we are focusing solely on Peratus music and nothing else. So, yeah, no other requests. Anyway, I've seen you. I've known our guest Rev Sev for about 12 years now, and I have seen you go up and down in weight. But I'm gonna tell you something I noticed about you, man. You're the kind of rock and roll dude who likes food.
I do. I was a cook for too many years.
Dude, I have seen you make some shit disappear, bro.
I can eat like no
I
other.
remember I went over to your house one day, and we were talking about something. Well, okay, well, this is a tough one. We were talking about
so the man's
something.
an eater.
well, let me break this down. I'm trying to break this down right. We were talking about something and the price of something and how we were such good friends that we should be like giving each other deals. Anyway, and you, just in this short conversation,
not going any further with that one. No.
He used to sell. Basically, he sold Amway for a short time, and so did I, of course. So, and I was sitting there, and we were talking for like no more than 5 minutes, and there were like 3 like the homemade hamburgers that aren't on buns; they're just on bread, and you just killed them. And I'm like, wow, dude, you got an appetite, bro. And this is when you were slimmer. And I thought, and you know, when I saw you a little while after that, and you had packed on a couple, I knew it was coming, bro, because you were just killing it, dude. You were barbecuing that day.
I always eat like a horse, but like when I stopped work, that was when I was like first recording with you guys. I was framing still every day, and so I was like, I was stacked again, and I was back to being like not all fat, and then, but I was still eating like starving, like a starving kid, and then as soon as I, you know, stopped working out all the time and working physically, I kept eating like a starving kid. So
right now, what
hot pockets.
What I'm getting at, right? What I'm getting at, you said that you were a cook for a time.
Yeah, long time.
Long time. What kind of food?
By the way, shout outs to Jim Gaffigan. Just saying.
Shout out
Jim
to Jim
and Nancy, right? Shout out to Nancy.
And shout out to Nancy also, yeah.
Yes, rocking on, guys.
Nancy in the chat room, you requested Rev Sev, and here he is on Outtasite Radio. Absolutely.
Yeah, call and talk to us. I can't see the damn chat page.
What kind of chef were you, man? What kind of cook were you?
I actually, believe it or not, besides tattooing, I just got a job cooking again too in Monroe. I'm working at a bar of all places, but it's a cool bar, that's for sure. And but I did before. I've done everything from like seafood to I worked at a prime rib house down in Olympia. I was a cook in the Coast Guard when I was in the service, so I've done a lot of cooking over the years. So.
Right now, that's something else. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that, but I do. You were in the Coast Guard, man. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. That's interesting. You want to talk about that just a little bit? We don't have to get too deep into it, but I think it's interesting because I've never done anything like that. Like all I've ever done is like music and bullshit. That's like important. But go ahead.
Well, I don't know. It was definitely an experience. I don't hate it. I do even miss it nowadays. I got a little bit older and, you know, been able to mature out a little bit. I should say a little bit. I say very tentatively, but it was a great experience. I served out of Honolulu at first, and then a couple small boat stations, and you know, I had my ups and downs in the service, but it all ended up doing pretty good for me. I would totally do it again. Honestly, it made me the patriot I am today. So
right, and that's awesome, man. Because you know, when I first met you and you told me you were in the Coast Guard, like I had to think about it for a hot second, but we were getting real stoned, and I thought you were the police. I'm like, is this guy telling me he's a cop? And I'm like, oh, the Coast Guard, the Coast Guard.
I'm no longer. Coast Guard for such
Right.
reasons. So.
And he's no longer a cop either. So everybody just chill.
Yeah, screw you.
I knew it. It was coming. Screw you, Mike. Screw you, Outtasite. I knew it was coming. The band Worm Drive, you said that you had an album title for the album, and what is it again? One more time.
It's tentatively Enter the Worm.
Enter the Worm. Okay. How many songs do you have recorded with Worm Drive currently? Or are you getting ready to record?
We're half 97, I'd say 70% done with that recording. Worm Drive's been like 3 years in the making as far as how long we've been putting together. We've gone through members itself, trying to find the right mix of people. And so we had originally intended to just have it be an EP, but now after 3 years, we got 11 or 12, 13, done what we consider badass songs. So we're going to give it a full blast album right off the bat. So.
Right. You're not going to start off with the EP like you did with Peratus, because I think
I intended to, but it turned out this way. It took so long to do it that we ended up writing a bunch of other good music. I think in the meantime. So.
Right. Because Feels Like Hell was originally, that was the debut EP from Peratus, in case anybody's just tuning in. But that was originally supposed to be a full album, correct?
Originally I wanted to, and we decided that it was probably best and money more efficient, honestly. When I look back, it was best because we were able to pick our strongest songs at the time and put them together, and that's the point of an EP, so you don't drown people with something that's a bunch of monotonous, same old stuff. You try to pick the strongest and put it out there and learn from it, and so that's what we did with Peratus. I feel like we've done that with Worm Drive with the 3 years of shows and playing around and had some pretty big shows. We had Evil J from OTEP, the bass player. OTEP's a pretty big metal band. They're actually a really big metal band. That he came and played bass for us one night when we played a benefit show, and we packed the house a few times, but it's been so long in the making, we just decided by the time it was done, my dog is barking, that we were just going to go with the album. So.
Your dog is barking. Isn't that what dogs do, man? Yeah. I've never heard
hump legs. Yeah.
Hump legs.
He's like barking right next to me, like he thinks he's going to do something, but I don't know.
Maybe he's jealous. Maybe he's jealous of his owner. Maybe he wants to be on Outtasite Radio. Did you ever think of that, Rev Sev?
That could be. That could be.
Do you want to get on the radio? Come here. Come here. No, he don't want to do it.
I speak canine. Put the phone next to him, and I'll communicate.
He's on the other side of the room. He's not coming over.
You said you've been playing a lot of Worm Drive shows. I wasn't aware of this. I'm sort of embarrassed, man. I haven't seen a Worm Drive show.
Not a lot. I should say, at least we played 2 or 3, 4 last year. Like here and there, every few months we've been playing. But then we've been on break for the last 5 months. And we're just starting to practice again. So hopefully we're both bands. We're planning a big CD release party for Peratus's next thing, because like I said, we're going to be taking a little break for a while so we can work on Worm Drive, promoting that and getting the world to hear that for a little while. But then we'll come back to Peratus a little later with a new album. But this next album of Peratus is going to be really fun. I'm really excited about it. It's a bunch of good songs. So.
I am excited about it also. You got a whole bunch of songs written for the next Peratus album?
Yeah, this one's like we're in the mixing stages. I have just vocals to do still, and then we're mixing and we're done with the new Peratus album. So it's like 11 to 13 songs or something. It's a pretty good size. I can't remember exactly how many are on there right now, but yeah.
Who is engineering? Who's engineering the new Peratus album?
Matt Milliken is. He's from our former label C2M2 before they went tits up. We still like Matt a lot, and he's a great engineer. So he's doing this. He's actually working with us on the new Worm Drive album as well. So this will be
awesome.
Good work he's putting out.
Guys, I have a question from the chat here. I got P-chatted by one of our listeners, and they want to know how long do you guys normally work on an album before you say it's done, and how many tracks do you usually record before you roll with the final copy or the final press?
I'd say, like, for the last few albums, there's always quite a few. There's 2 to 5 songs that don't make the cut by the end, because usually we have a few, but we are trying to do it on our biggest ones, and like I said, and Mike has said before too, that I'm my own worst critic, you know, so I really want the best stuff that we can put out to be on the album. So on the average, you know, an album's worth of songs, we wrote this next Peratus album. It's been almost 3 years since Equilibrium came out, and I'd say 80% of the songs were written directly in the year after that. So it's taken, you know, a couple years for each time. The hardest part is just finding funding and when you're working and all that between the band members and getting the time to go record. So, you know, if we have free reign, I'm sure we could be putting out an album every couple of years. But as it stands right now, it usually takes 2, 3, 4 years sometimes to get the next one done for us. So it's a long process. Now, like I said, it was like about 80% of the songs were written a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago, and the last 20% have been in the last couple of years. So it's a process, I'd have to say. You know, some songs come quick, but the final products can take some time.
Well, I tell you what, man, it does feel like I'm waiting for a while when I wait to hear your new music, man. But yeah, when I hear it, it always feels like it was so well worth the wait. Like it's always the shit. You know what I mean?
That's what I think. This album, even for me, this album. I mean, we took direct control with this with Matt engineering. You know, he's helping our producing and everything, but ultimately, I have the final say along with Bud and stuff about what we want to sound like. So we can't look back and go, "This is anybody else's fault." The way it sounded, you know what I mean? So we're really excited, you know, because it's going to be exactly what we were trying to, you know, put out to the people, not somebody else's interpretation. So.
Right, and that's what's awesome. Up, too, man. That's what's up, man. Any more questions from the chat room at this moment in time?
Or any
okay.
No, one got answered earlier, so no. Don't worry. We're good right now. But if any other comes up, I'm getting P-chatted from people, so as soon as I get another one, I'll let you know.
And I want to thank Rev Sev. Thank you, man, for being on the show tonight. It was a good time. I want to thank my co-host, the Jackal, once again. And I want to encourage everyone to check out Peratus music, and available on iTunes right now. Available right now would be the full-length album Equilibrium and its predecessor, the Feels Like Hell EP, which was Peratus' debut release. Now, I want everybody to be on the lookout for Worm Drive and their tentatively titled album, Enter the Worm, and also the next Peratus album, which will be their third release, tentatively titled Reflections. And when I get my hands on this new Rev Sev music, whether it be Peratus or Worm Drive, I can guarantee you are going to hear it on Outtasite Radio. Thank you, Sev. You know I love you, man. Keep up the good work. For my boy, the Jackal, this is Outtasite. Like I always say about this time, out of sight, out of mind, saw the light, now you're blind, shining bright, now you're crying, party up, out of time. Goodbye.